My name is Rebekah Kemper. I'm a senior this year. I'm from a small town in West Virginia called Beckley, and I'm a double major, so I'm an exercise science fitness specialist, exercise science strength and conditioning, and I have a minor in sports outreach, and I'm on the women's wrestling team. Actually, I didn't start wrestling until my sophomore year of college, and it's actually kind of a long story, but I'll make it really brief. But I came to Liberty my freshman year and didn't really like it a whole lot, so I was thinking about transferring out, and I went on a missions trip that summer, and the family of the missions trip that leads the missions trip, his dad actually started the wrestling program at Liberty way back in the day. So they talked to me a little bit about it, and they were like, hey, have you ever thought about wrestling? Like, you're short, like, you're pretty built, like, try it. And I was like, okay. So I was like, somehow got it in my mind. I never even watched a wrestling match before, but I got it in my mind. I was like, I'm gonna wrestle for Liberty. And so I emailed the coach over the summer, like, no idea what I'm volunteering for, like, no idea what I'm getting myself into. But I was like, I'm gonna wrestle. So I didn't transfer out of Liberty, and I came back to Liberty, and then I showed up to wrestling, and I was like, I'm gonna wrestle. And it was like the hardest thing I've ever done. Like the first 2 weeks, I was like, oh my word, like I literally think I threw up like every single day. I was like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. But now it's my third year, so it kind of hooks you a little bit. Both of my older sisters went to Liberty, and for a really long time I was like, oh, I want to do my own thing. I want to go to my own school. Like, I don't want to follow in my sister's footsteps. But every time I came here, I kind of just felt like a little bit of a pull, and I was like, it kind of makes sense, but I was like, no, I don't want to go here. And I remember being like really confused and really frustrated, trying to pick like what school I wanted to go to. And then as soon as I made the decision to come to Liberty, I was like, oh, okay, like this makes sense. My favorite Bible verse, I think this is funny because I'm actually wearing the hoodie for like the spiritual leadership that has the same Bible verse, but my favorite Bible verse is 2 Timothy 1:7, and it says, for God gave us not a spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of a sound mind. And I really love that verse because I know that personally, like sometimes I can struggle with like a lot of fear. And so I think it's like always a really good reminder that like He didn't give me a spirit of fear. He gave me a spirit of love and of power and of a sound mind. And I think that really emulates a lot of like, especially like in wrestling, like when you go out and you're about to wrestle a match, like there can be a lot of fear. It can be pretty intimidating. You're literally about to battle with another person. But just like the reminder that like even in my brokenness and in my weakness, like God has not given me a spirit of fear. And yes, sometimes like I still fail. Yes, sometimes I still lose matches. Yes, sometimes I'm still terrified of like life and of wrestling and school and everything else. But just to like have that reminder that like God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. People that can't drive. Favorite food, I love bagels. So actually like any type of bagel, but I think the cinnamon crunch bagel from Panera, favorite food. Love bagels. I think I would want like someone like really cool that's like Scarlett Johansson or something, just because she's like so like, I don't know, tough, but I don't really know. I think I would have one of those like awkward coming of age movies more than I would have like an action movie about me, but I never went through that phase, but I wish I did. If I could have one superpower, it would be to breathe underwater, because I love swimming and I feel like the ocean is so cool, but then you always have to get air, so it's like if you could breathe underwater, you'd be like chilling. I think I'd play hockey or I would swim. I just think hockey is so cool. I am probably one of the worst ice skaters to ever exist, but I just think that's like such a cool skill. Like you can skate for like literally the rest of your life, and I'm like, well, wrestling, like, you could probably wrestle the rest of your life, but you might get a little more sore as it goes on. But like hockey, like, I don't know, I just think that's cool. You can be like 85 and take like your grandkids ice skating. Like that's so cool. An interesting fact about myself, I've broken like 7 or 8 bones in my entire life, yeah. Wreck-It Ralph, the Vanellope Von Sweets girl, the crazy driver, like big pigtails. I think her and then Jessie from Toy Story. I think I'm like the little mix of the two, like a little bit crazy, but like a little bit yeehaw at the same time. I literally think I cried about a movie like 2 days ago, but I can't remember what I watched. It was like some dumb Disney movie or something, and it just made me weep. And I can't remember what it was called. But one that'll really get me crying is Coco by Disney. That will wreck you. Yeah. Yeah, by Usher. That song is so fun. It's so fun. One of my weirdest fears, I am absolutely terrified of needles, which is so stupid because I literally have a tattoo, but it's like different because it's like just on my skin, but like watching someone like stick a needle like in my arm or something, like obviously it would be a unicorn because A, they're amazing, but they're like strong, but they're like also magical at the same time, and they're like fun. And also I just absolutely love unicorns. I have like an insane amount of unicorns. So yeah, I actually have a giant stuffed one at my house that's like as big as me. Yeah, I really like unicorns. Yeah.
Perfect. That's it.
Perfect.